And welcome to episode 14 of Police Box Paradox, the double album edition, because last week I caused us not to be able to record thanks to scheduling, and so we will be covering not only tonight's episode of Hyde, but last week's episode of Cold War, and we've kind of already said things, so we don't know how much we can remember freshly from Cold War, but we've got notes and we can go back to it. I wish we had recorded that last time. For those listening, that's
a note sound.
Pieces of paper in front of the
Hey, Rush Limbaugh does that. I figured that'd be...
Really? We're trying to be like Rush Limbaugh. That's what we're trying to do?
I would like his listenership for this podcast, yes.
Well, I would not turn that down. I would... Then we would actually possibly be able to fund this thing as opposed to just doing it for fun.
Instead of getting free stuff, which I'm not complaining.
Oh, no. I like getting free things. You hold up the free things that we received. I don't have it yet. You have
Okay.
both.
Our Jammy Dodgers.
We have Jammy Dodgers.
Hang on. I want to make from Jim Hawkins.
Jim Hawkins.
Yes.
They went to
Jimbo Hawkins on Twitter.
They went to Mike. He's got both of them. And he's supposed to bring them, so I will have mine.
And I'm dropping Wes's off tomorrow. So
and we will wait, and we will open them for the first time next week on the episode, and have Jammy Dodgers for the first time.
So all the UK listeners can laugh at two Americans from Kentucky being scared, making a big deal about cookies.
But here's a question, because I want to see how sad I'm going to get whenever I ask this, because now I'm starting to get worried. Will you be sure and look in the ingredients on that and make sure it does not have cinnamon?
Cinnamon. That's something I should have thought about.
Because if I'm this excited and then I get them in my hands and I can't eat them, it's going to be an issue. I will probably cry. And some people will think that's funny. Other people hopefully.
Are you allergic to something called gelling agent?
I'm not. Gelling agent, red dye number 7, yellow number 5, preservatives, I'm all in. It's just cinnamon. That's the only thing.
The only thing it has for allergy advice, although you're the only person I know that's allergic to cinnamon.
It's never going to, they're not going, just touch nuts.
It says contains gluten and wheat. May contain milk.
I love gluten. I love wheat. I love milk.
Now it looks like we are cinnamon free, sir.
Awesome, because I want a Jammy Dodger. Anyway,
we also have books, which I've been. I don't have them to show, but
we do.
And more coming.
We had a lot of new listeners on the last episode, so I guess we can kind of do a quick reset. Kyle's not here tonight because he's at the prom.
Not taking a date. Not taking a date.
I wanted to let it breathe for a second before it happened. He's a physics teacher at high school, and he is chaperoning prom tonight. So he's not seen tonight's episode and couldn't make it in time, even if he had watched it to do the podcast. So he sends his best wishes as we discuss these episodes.
And I'm sure one or two people listening are like, "Wow, they got a physics teacher to be on their Doctor Who podcast? That's genius!" But we kind of cheated.
Yeah, it just happened that way. It just happened that way. So for the listeners that are new, we'll do this real quick. I'm Wes. That's Mike. He's waving at the camera. And Kyle is my brother, the physicists. And we do a Doctor Who podcast. You're listening to called Police Box Paradox. We just are fans that enjoy shows. We usually watch the episode that just happened, do the podcast immediately after, and talk about it as if we just watched it, which is what we did. We're not going to analyze and say, well, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. You go watch the episode if you want. We don't do major spoilers, but we will talk about anything that's happened in Doctor Who.
Because Wes won't let me.
Right. I'm the party pooper. Up until this episode and the preview for next week's Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. Oh yes, we will discuss all of that at the end. We probably are going to do some 50th anniversary stuff, which I don't think it's anything. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably know everything we're going to talk about anyway for that. But we'll give you a warning before we get to it. So go ahead.
And I was trying to find something.
So as I was talking, you decided
as Wes was talking. Well,
you're trying to find something. I could have talked for 30 minutes.
Well, I was just going to go for those not listening to know I'm also the momentum killer.
He is the momentum killer.
And if you don't think I've got some coming up,
if we ever get this podcast going in a general direction,
we are sued 15 times from. Yeah. How do I?
You can't be playing yet. We're not there.
I've got. Don't worry. I've got the good stuff ready. I'm trying to figure out how to get it to stop.
2 tickets to paradise. Won't you pack your bags and leave tonight?
Sorry. That just happens when you play music. I say
when I randomly decide to play music for no reason.
It's a game of trying to figure out how to do a podcast while Michael tries to figure out how to shut it down while he's a part of it. So anyway.
And now I'm getting more advanced because I'm planning ahead of time these days.
You're prepping. You're like, listen, if I'm going to kill momentum, I want to make sure I kill it.
At the end of the season, I'm just going to release a Police Box Paradox playlist so they can follow. Yeah.
So they know.
Per episode.
Maybe we'll go back and record a few. So I guess let's go ahead and we'll jump into Cold War before we get into tonight's hide. I'm kind of happy if we had to do 2 episodes from this little section of the series together. I'm glad these are the 2 because these are, I'll go ahead and say for both, these are my 2 favorites so far. I'm not sure which of these I like the most.
I am in agreement with that statement.
I'm not going to say I was down because I've enjoyed the season so far. I liked them. I thought Akatan was a little off what I would normally wanted, but I did think it was a cool send-up of like an Eccleston type episode, which we've discussed before. Cold War to me felt a lot like a Tenet episode in that it just seems like a situation he would be in. But overall, I really, really, really liked the episode. I thought it felt important. The pacing was solid. I'm going to go ahead and flat out say that I didn't know who the Ice Warriors were other than we shot a wedding for a couple where the groom was from England, his brother was over, and we sat after the wedding, because it was a little one, we sat and talked Doctor Who for probably 2 hours. And he told me when he was a kid, he was older than I am, he was talking about when he was a kid, the Ice Warriors coming out of like frozen water type ice stuff, scaring him to the point where he couldn't sleep at night. And I'd never seen them, and of course this is the first time we get them back. When we saw the production photos of the Ice Warrior the first time, I thought, oh Lord, what are they doing to Doctor Who? Why? We have to have the Daleks because I understand, but why are you bringing this thing, this monstrosity?
Why are you going to bring these guys?
Just bring out a roll of cheese if you're going to do this. And I was completely wrong. So let's just go back. Do you liked Cold War? You were on for it?
Yeah, I like. Yes, I enjoyed Cold War.
The Ice Warrior on his own was, I thought, really cool. It looked better in the episode than it did on the shots I'd seen. But for some reason, and maybe it's because I didn't know anything about the Ice Warrior before, and hopefully we can get off my lawn about the history of the Ice Warriors.
I'm hoping so.
I didn't know enough about them. I don't know if before it felt to me like they had never got out of the suits before, ever.
I don't think they have.
Because that's the way he built it up. I was not expecting them to be out of the suit because in my mind it wasn't even a suit. It was just that's how they have to live. And him being out of the suit was such a good twist. I felt they made an old bad guy relevant again. You know, the Daleks are always
added a spin that didn't take away from anything from before.
No, it didn't cheapen what they did before. It didn't cheapen what we're doing now, and it didn't look out of place. That's my big fear anytime we bring something old back. It's like, I'm not a huge Cyberman fan, although I think I'm going to be this season. Because they were so slow. Like they keep, and that's the one thing I don't like it, but I do like it and appreciate that when we move forward in this new series, even though we have all new technical abilities and all these things we can create, they still hold true to anything that was original before. It's very obvious this wasn't a reboot, this is a continuation. So they can't just, for lack of a better word, bastardize everything they had before. And
they can't do a J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Right. They're not, and they shouldn't. But when they did this, the way they did, they brought the Cybermen in, and I've watched so many times where I was like, come on, guys, just run. You're safe. No problem. They just weren't the right thing, and I think they're going to reinvent that this next time. And I was scared that's what was going to happen here, but not at all. It was, I loved it. I loved it. I hope it comes back at another time because they seem serious. Ice Warriors seem like they can do some damage.
Yeah. The way it ended, I won't be surprised if they come back.
Yeah, I won't either. I don't think in the immediate future, but I do think at some point down the road. Now, I don't know. We definitely can't do a full-on recap because I don't remember enough about the episode.
I will say, let's see here. We'll go through my notes. Let's see here. I really need to get more organized with my notes. I did like. I like the fact that we have the professor from like every possible geek genre there is shows up in Doctor Who.
Now, here's my question, and I'm not asking this as if you've already read the scripts for 20 seasons from now. Do you think we see him again? Do you think he's relevant in the story?
I'd like to.
Here's something. Clara is making connections with people that it seems not strange as if it's out of context for the story, but it seems like we should be paying attention to the fact that she seemed to have a bond with him as well as having a bond with the Ice Warrior. He showed her compassion whenever he wasn't showing anyone else compassion, and I've got kind of a thing on that maybe. But it feels like he was, because he was so out of place in the episode. He was so, like, this is not what's happening, but like it could have easily, you could tell me that in the next episode he shows up and he's really the master and the watch opens. Like, that would make sense to me because he was that just different in his position and he seemed to be embedded in a normal story, but seemed like he could pop out and be something way more important at any given time, if that makes sense. Especially when he didn't die, because you thought he was, and he had the science screwdriver.
Well, at the same time, I don't know, but then again, he couldn't because he's a professor that apparently thought he found a mammoth, which was obviously a biped.
Right.
But
yeah. Do you not think? Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of, why don't we poking holes in Doctor Who like that? Don't be doing that. Okay, I want to get to this because this was my theory before, and it wasn't so much in Hyde, but it was Cold War. There was a whole lot of sonic screwdriver again. Like a whole lot of, hey, look at me, I have a sonic screwdriver.
You said that.
Look at my sonic screwdriver. Everybody, it's a Sonic. And then he lost
it's Sonic.
Someone don't have a song called Sonic. Don't make.
I'm not looking for a song. I'm not looking for a song. I'm looking.
Hedgehog comes on and be upset.
No. I could though.
Don't do that.
I'm not. I'm looking up a YouTube clip. Calm down.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. So, I'm sticking with my theory that I think we're coming up on the time we're going to give, and we'll get to something else later. We're going to give River her Sonic, and I think we'll lose this Sonic.
I believe you're correct. Here, you can't see this. No one else can see this, but I can play the audio.
You can play. You can do the little YouTube thing.
Well, I'm pulling it up on my iPad, so.
What's wrong with it? The signal coming somewhere interfering.
We'll use the red settings.
Doesn't have a red setting.
We'll use the dampers.
It doesn't have dampers.
It will do one day.
And we just saw the red setting in Cold War.
For the first time.
For the first time.
That's a good point. See? I'm not crazy. There's a big deal being made.
Actually, if you went and looked at our site once in a while, I put a big post asking if we were closer to River's
Buddy, at this point, I'm happy that I can.
Oh, I know. I can't, like I texted you the other day, find time to breathe.
Breathing's overrated.
And then
breathe, sleep. Obviously, I'm eating, but I can do that while I drive.
No, I actually made a post for all that because I think we are, and it's been confirmed that she's in the season finale too. So
right, and they've changed the name, which I don't know if it was officially the other name before. We'll get to that later.
I don't know if it was either or not, but
speaking of which, I need to get the feeds, because everything I have is the old Geekasm feeds, and since it's haveageekasm.com now, I need to get those feeds because I can put them into their Flip magazine, and I don't know if you've played with the Flip magazine that we're doing.
I have a little bit.
It is awesome. Like, all I've got to do is go through, and every article that I think is cool about Doctor Who, I just pop it into our magazine. So if you're using an iPad or an iPhone, and I believe it's available on Android devices, the Flip magazine, it's just a good app to use regardless. But we have a magazine called Police Box Paradox that we just put Doctor Who news that we find relevant or cool things, and you can kind of flip through magazine style and read it. It's really, I thought, pretty cool.
And to cover the probably the few people that have Windows phones, Windows 8, whatever,
Why?
in the next week,
Why?
or so, hang on, you don't know what I'm about to say.
I don't care.
In the next week or so, there will be a Police Box Paradox app that you can download.
On a Microsoft Windows phone?
On Windows Market, yeah.
Let's get in. Let's at least get an Android or iOS.
I'm working up, okay? It was the
All
easiest thing for me to do.
I understand. The more we get out there.
I'm working up to it.
So here we go. The Sonic has played its course. You've obviously seen the red setting, which is a big deal. And I actually think the little, you know how this Sonic extends and the little things pop out? I think those are the dampers.
I think that's how I took it. Yeah.
So we've already got dampers and the red setting, and so yeah, we're getting awful close.
I concur with your assessment.
Here's the other thing that really stood out in Cold War because it stood out. There was a very specific comment in what was the first episode this time? Numbers? No. The hacking episode.
You mean after the Christmas episode? The Bells of St. John?
Bells of St. John, yeah. In Bells of St. John, it's referenced in a different way, but the Doctor has become extremely paranoid that the TARDIS is going to fall into the wrong hands. Mm-hmm. He brought it up in Bells of St. John by saying that he doesn't take the TARDIS.
Yeah, there's some stuff going out. There's some stuff going down with the TARDIS. I don't know what.
In this one, it ran away because he had the setting in case stuff jumps off the TARDIS goes and hides, which I've said before, and I'm on the record as saying when the TARDIS disappears and I have a Doctor without a TARDIS, I get paranoid. I get scared to death. Yeah. And I realize that it can come back at any given moment and it's just a TV show, but I get like a panic attack because I need him to have access to the TARDIS at any given moment.
Yeah, but we saw him pilot it in Angels Take Manhattan. We saw him pilot it directly into a spot that he shouldn't. And now he's scared to take it, I guess, because now he's scared to take it into battle or do anything.
Yeah, he is, which again, there may be something that has happened that we don't know about.
Maybe him and the TARDIS had a fight and she just complained.
It could be. I got to make a note for a minute when we get to the 50th anniversary stuff because I got a question for you.
Okay.
I want to know if you do know. So that was the other thing that really stood out for that episode. The other thing that I know has been addressed by several people, and maybe people haven't looked at it yet. I'll be shocked if you have not done an article on this so far. But the Hungry Like the Wolf. We have had. Go ahead and hit it. You know it's there. There's no way
it's right here.
This episode, and you have not. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Duran Duran. I only wish it was on a cassette tape.
Yeah, I know.
So,
and I'm gonna let it just play. Just talk.
Rose has shown up. She's gonna, the whole bad wolf scenario happened. There was several, like they kept drilling in that it was Hungry Like the Wolf. Like that wasn't just a casual passing by. They had to pay for that.
They could have picked any song on the planet,
but they picked that, which has to feel like
if it's not, they just did it to be flat out holes.
Which would not surprise me. Because in Bells of St. John, when he did the Doctor Who, I just like the way it sounds, that was a slap at the face. People online are like tired of that joke.
Like, neener.
Yeah. I mean, and the Twitter reference too. So, I don't know if we're necessarily going to get Bad Wolf. Here's my worry. This is and we had the same conversation when we talked about Tennant, 10th Doctor versus 10th Doctor that's actually with Rose. All that scenario, I don't want them to mess up the Bad Wolf ending of season 1 by doing something new with it. Now, if it all ties in and you don't change that, that's great.
I have seen theories online, people trying to figure out how it ties in. So,
see, and it worries me because to me, to tie in Bad Wolf properly, that's why we would need Eccleston in the 50th, and we seem to not have that. It would just make sense to me, but that's a different.
Well, there's something I'll bring up when we get to the discussion of the 50th.
Cold War overall, I thought was a solid. I would probably give it like an 8.5, and I'm a tough grader. Like to me, there's only a few 10s, because if there were a lot of 10s in Doctor Who, then you can't just give everybody a 10. I'm not in a sports league where we don't keep score and everybody gets a trophy. There's only a few 10s to me, and this is a solid 8.5 to me. It's a legitimately good episode, a good watch, and I will watch it again soon just because I liked it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that one. I will ask, because I saw a lot of people, try to overanalyze, and me being one to overanalyze. If someone overanalyzes my overanalyzation, yeah. Did you think anything about the Barbie and the doctor's coat?
I don't know. To me, it feels a little like we're just doing this to be silly. And
this is just the doctor. He's just yeah.
Listen, from what I've gathered from Moffat, he knows how much we are all dying for the 50th and information on it. So would it be above him? Do I think? Would it be above him to plant little Easter eggs that have nothing to do with the 50th anniversary just to drive us crazy? Yes, I think he would do that. I'm not saying that's it. The Barbie may be a big deal at some point, but it just seemed random that it was in there. It's very possible that maybe the Doctor was playing with one of the kids in one of the timelines that Claire was babysitting, because she does that a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know for sure if it's going to tie in. But it was a good. I don't know. What are you taking more notes right now? Are you editing your notes?
No, I'm taking notes.
Reminding
myself to bring something up during the 50th.
Okay, I've just got one, and if I don't remember, you have to tell me so I can bring it up. Do you have anything else on Cold War? I wish we'd record that night, because I think I would have had a lot more on it.
I probably would have had more. Yeah, well, it kind of ties in. I mean, we can tie this into talking about Hyde too, but with Claire's behavior. Mm-hmm. She is coming across as, compared to all the other companions that we have had, I guess we'll say with the reboot, since you and me have never seen any of the other ones. All the companions that you and I are familiar with, she seems to be the anti-companion.
I agree. And there's something very specific in Hyde that I want to bring that up for.
Well, we can wait to do that, because I was going to point out when he told her not to go anywhere, instead of running off, she's like, okay.
Yeah, and she just stayed there. Yeah, that wasn't even my point, but yeah, she did. She just stayed there and hung out like, okay, I will wait here. Like, she is not following the rules the way anyone else did.
Anti-companion might be the wrong words, but...
No, I think it's right. Like, we're not saying anti like she's bad. It's just she is...
The reverse of everything that's been said is norm.
Like, it's... Yeah. And I don't even think in Rings of Akatan I would call it this. It seems like with all the other companions, we end up in trouble because they did something.
Yeah.
They got nosy, they got curious, which is what they're there for, and got us involved in something. Yeah, she kind of did that in Rings of Akatan, but I think that's something we were going to get involved with regardless. So I don't know. I don't see it as much. So we'll jump on to Hyde. Do you got anything else for Cold War?
No, I'm good.
Okay, and then if we think of something, we can always come back to it and bring it up later.
Yeah.
So Hyde. This episode tonight was, and I did some research because I thought it was written by Neil Cross, and I thought he was the guy that did was the episode I really liked last time, the Wild West episode. I can't remember the titles because they're not old enough for me to remember, I guess. Town Called Mercy.
Yes.
I thought he wrote that, but I was wrong. The only Doctor Who episode that he's written that I can find is he wrote Rings of Akatan, which I think is crazy because, to me, these two do not feel like they were
totally
written
different
from the same
feel.
writer. Yeah.
No.
Dialogue, everything. Again, and we already alluded to it, I really, really liked Hyde. I think I'm a big fan of when Doctor Who gets scary. Like and I'm not saying like I wasn't cringing. Like I got visibly like in Blink. I didn't on this, but like
it's always fun to see the Doctor get like that though. Like
exactly.
Okay, what have I stepped into?
Yeah, like he came, and at the end we find out that he came for a different reason. But
which I had as a note going through the episode.
Really?
And then I had is this
early.
Is this intentional? I picked it up when he knew the professor and the woman immediately.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, okay, he knows what he's there for.
That's a good point, because I actually thought, I didn't think what you thought, but as soon as he knew all that about them, I thought, are we doing an episode where this is a real historical figure that I just don't know? Because there's things that happen in England, apparently, and they don't, send
They don't teach us over here.
Yeah, they don't let me know these things. So there's times I'm like, am I supposed to know something here that I don't? I should really go across the pond and research things. So I wonder that too, but that's a good point. I should have caught. Now you made me feel stupid. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Self-esteem's already low enough. Now I gotta feel worse.
Yeah,
because I didn't catch that. All right, so this episode, it had several things. Like, this was the first episode of the season that felt like a Matt Smith episode. And I'm not saying he was out of place in the other ones, but a lot of those other stories felt like they were written for different doctors. Well, I don't know. Bells of St. John felt a lot like a 11th Doctor episode. So I guess I'm a little out of context there. But this one, it was scary. It just had a lot of drama, a lot of feel. There was a lot of tension waiting for things to happen. And you break out an old Leica camera, I get real excited every time. I was trying to figure out, I was like, what settings are they on? What are they running right now? But something very chilling to me in the image of, we'll just call it the ghost for now, that long jaw scream stretch, that was creepy.
Where you could see the teeth?
Yeah. If I had seen that on anything else, I would have probably cried. So with the doctor, I was like, he can save me. It's fine. I like this as the bad, which really, in the end, there was not really a bad guy at all in the episode. It was just misunderstanding and things happening. But my question, other than the funny Dr. Watt reference, which, I think is Steven just going, gotcha, eat it. And let's see, Dr. Cross Neil. There were a few things in this that really stood out as, I think, establishing Clara, establishing what we're dealing with, and I'm going to jump later on to something. Let's see, where am I at? Okay. Something that happened in the episode where they go through from beginning of time to the end of the Earth. Mm-hmm. We have now seen two companions, Rose and Clara, Rose actually saw the end of the Earth, and Clara saw, I'm assuming, right before the end of the Earth.
That had to have been right. Yeah, that was right before, from the look of the sun.
They had completely different reactions to that. Mm-hmm. Clara, as a companion, looks at things differently.
Very differently.
She's not whimsically out on an adventure as much as she is. I think she wants to make a difference. I think she's way more, I don't want to say more compassionate, because obviously all of the other companions had compassion and feeling for what they did.
But there's something different with her.
There's something very different, and I don't know how to pinpoint it with words yet.
And I noticed, I watched parts of the episode again. Typically, I have watched an episode twice before we do this. I typically watch it one just to watch it, and then the other time I sit there and do it like it's homework and, do my notes and everything else. And I didn't get all the way through the episode because of a certain 3-year-old. Thank you, Abby. Yay. But I noticed when the one shot that shows Clara and she's looking at the screen of the doctor with the camera, and this is the end of the Earth, that one shot, there's this slight little musical tone, almost like it's a, hey, register this because this might be important, because just to give the added emotion to it, I guess, they added just this very slight tone to it.
And see, I think the companion that understood the overall effect of being with the doctor was Amy. I think she got that I'm aging, he's not really, eventually I will run out of time way before he does. But that took her a long time to get. Whereas the whole "we're all ghosts to you" comment was very dark. This early for a companion to already understand that feeling, and it's never been worded like that, which made it was kind of a gut punch. It made me sad for what was going on with her, and then the Doctor followed it up with a comment that I think encapsulates the entire show because of the Doctor's fascination with humans, but I think he was definitely specifically talking to her when he said, "You are the only mystery worth solving." That was a very, direct comment, which, find out he is, again, trying to find an answer for her. And
for her.
Did he do anything in Cold War? Is that the only episode we've had where he didn't specifically research something on her?
Well, see, if you remember in the beginning of Cold War, they were planning on showing up in Vegas.
Right.
So the TARDIS turned.
So he says.
Well, so he says, but
for the first time, I feel. Well, he's done it before, but this is he's being very subversive, and not.
It's very similar to the tactics he went through when he realized that we had a ganger, Amy.
Right.
That's why I had a feeling. That was why I had the feeling of this being when he was meeting them and realized, oh, she's like a psychic empath type thing. I figured it out. I realized that's probably what it was, because it's like, this is very similar to when they went to that planet where the gangers were created for him to study. And then he all of a sudden realized, this is what's going on. Mm-hmm. He can't figure it out, so he's going to other people thinking, you're going to be able to tell me something.
Right. So far, we don't really... He can't figure her out. He can't crack it. And we've been told that by the end of this season, we will know everything about her. Which is kind of scary, because that makes me feel she ain't going to be around that long, because usually the fun is in finding things out.
No, they've said she's going to be around for a little bit. She's basically, I think she's going to be the companion that bridges the tween. Yeah, I think she's going to be the bridge. So, but when we get to the end of this, and I can start about this episode, and I can start blabbing about other things. Mm-hmm. I rewatched the episode Rose last night.
Yeah, I saw something on that where you said.
And I'm slowly developing a slight theory on something in relation to Clara.
I read that, and we'll talk. We'll actually talk about.
And there's a quote from Hyde that I think that fits in with that could play to it.
Well, once we wrap Hyde up, let's go back to that, because I want to talk about that, because I don't think that's a huge spoiler, but I want to give people an option, because they may not be doing research. Now, here's one. Let's just go ahead and say Clara called the TARDIS an old cow. That happened on my television. I watched it and I heard it. There's
more than once. More than once.
They do not get along. Now here, do you feel that this was cheating in a way to get the TARDIS to talk?
Because the projection?
Yeah.
Well, they've done it before. I mean, they did it when the Doctor was poisoned right after River turned into River. Remember? Yeah, they showed Rose. He didn't like Rose. They showed Donna. It was finally the little kid, Amy. Before. I mean, we've seen that before. So I think it was basically the TARDIS going, listen here.
Yeah.
It was basically, it was a cat fight. That was the TARDIS's.
First, you ain't the last. I'm gonna be here the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Here's okay.
Since you brought that up, why does no one register the fact that Clara can pilot the TARDIS into a pocket universe?
Okay, I don't think she did.
You don't think she did at all?
Levers, but I think
she just came in and said, "Listen here, we in this together. It's us saving. Let's Charlie's Angel it and just go."
That's what I thought. When she ran to the outside before she called the TARDIS an old cow, I thought she was gonna say, like, just look and say, "But he needs us," and then she was gonna open the door, and they were best friends from then on. That did not happen at all. But I think she got in, and we went autopilot, and I think the TARDIS handled all. I think
You think the TARDIS did it by herself?
Handled her business. Yeah, I think she handled her business, and that almost the way it seemed that it was slightly out of control. I think that's why it looked like Claire was holding on for dear life, because she didn't want to get thrown around. Because I don't think the TARDIS cared which way, what happened to her. But here's my question: the TARDIS sees all points in time, current, past, future, right?
Yes.
Since she doesn't like Clara yet, does that mean she's never going to like Clara?
I don't know. Because
it seems to me if you know everything that could happen with this one person, the first time you meet them, you should already have your opinion.
DC Sensei agrees with you. That Sexy was doing it herself.
Exactly, because DC Sensei knows what's up.
I wasn't disagreeing. I just had to bring up the conversation point.
Now, since you said this, so you brought the word up, I want to bring it back up again.
Sexy? Well, thank you.
No, that was not at all what I was.
How about Toggle? Can we talk about Toggle?
We can talk about toggles if you like, because I like toggles as well. I do think it's a solid noun and an amazing verb.
And an excellent verb, yes.
Yeah, it's very, very well done. The phrase you brought up was pocket universe. Now, I don't know if this is a conversation we've had on the podcast. I don't know if I've had it with you. I don't know if I've had it with Kyle. I don't know when it happened. But the fact that there was a pocket universe in this episode jumped out at me. To my best recollection, we have only had one other instance of the pocket universe in the current series. And do you remember when that was? You don't, do you?
I just actually know.
It jumped up at me, and the only reason is because...
And I feel...
It's Kyle. Kyle and I had this talk when we were sitting upstairs the other day. The other time we had a pocket universe was House.
Wait. Oh, House.
Yes. And that... Kyle and I have talked. Scary booming voice-wise. House seems very similar to the Great Intelligence. I'm not saying they're the same, but they're very similar in speech and how they discuss things, and they have no body as far as what we can see. They're just kind of
and needs a body to take over, and
right.
A better thing to take over than the.
I'm not sure if that's going to play into anything, but to me, you don't go to the pocket universe well a second time that quickly. That's a season or two. Is it 2 seasons back? Either way, it's still in the Pond era. So
no, because that was the Gaiman. We had a Gaiman episode last season, and this is the second season. So it is last season.
So last season we had.
It's where they're splitting it up. It's messing with your brain.
Yeah, we've had a pocket universe reference that quickly. That seems to me that just seems a little weird to have it that soon. So I put that in your conspiracy theory hat and swish it around some. Because that disembodied voice feel is what we're getting with the Great Intelligence. It's what we had with House. He exists in a pocket universe. We went back to a pocket universe. And I'm going to go ahead and say, I think this astronaut plays a bigger deal than what we've seen. Just because I know that she ended up being the great-great-great-great-granddaughter or whatever, but something seems to me like she could come back. But there's something about the pocket universe that that's too... You just don't go back to that quickly. And maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I am. It's very possible.
Okay, I can't call anybody crazy.
So maybe I am crazy. The other thing that came up, there was a lot of like one-liners that really happened. Is this the first time we've heard him say Geronimo since Amy's gone?
Yeah.
Because he had the Geronimo, and I was like, oh, you said that, and Amy's not there. And actually, Amy may have been the one to say it last time anyway.
She was at an asylum, I think.
So
yeah, I that was on my notes.
2 other phrases that I want to get out.
Let's see if you... Okay. I have something written down.
Right.
Let's see
if this is one of them.
If you name it.
I have two more notes. One is, and he made it very clear because I think he said it more than once, is paradoxes resolve themselves.
Yep.
Which I think that's a lead in to the 50th. I think there's a paradox in the 50th, and that's why
I think Claire is the paradox.
That's a good point. And she's going to play in the 50th.
Paradoxes typically resolve themselves. She's a paradox that's not getting resolved.
Right.
So she's the odd equation.
She's definitely the weird remainder in the Matrix. Like,
yeah. Since we brought that up, I'll bring something else up, and I really doubt you had a note on this, but it's been mentioned twice. Let me see if I've got the note on it, because it might not be an exact quote.
He's thinking.
Anyway, last 2 episodes, there's been references to why doesn't the Doctor go back and change history?
Right. Yeah, he did reference fixed point in time in this episode.
Yeah. Why hasn't Clara come out and said, "Can I go see my mom?" Why can't we go save my mom?
Well, that's a good question.
No, I mean, Rose's dad was killed, and that's one of the first things she wanted to do.
That happened very early.
And
early.
I've thought more than once, because you'll see a look on Rose or Claire's face, but nothing's ever said, and it's like, why don't you want to go and my only guess is, and this will play off when we talk about it more, the only reason it's not brought up is because of it relates to my theory that I wrote that you read.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to give that little nugget away until later. So that's why it's not brought up at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, my other quote from the episode that I wanted to bring up, because it was said in a way that was one of those, this is important, even though there's, every lonely monster needs a companion.
Mm-hmm.
Does he feel he's a monster? Because he's definitely lonely.
He's been called a monster.
Makes me sad.
I think everything that River told him, I think what River told him in A Good Man Goes to War, when he realized that some of those, some people's or some worlds, the word or the name Doctor means war.
Right.
That and his whole, I need to get smaller, like he told Dorian and everything else. I think all that still rings in the back of his head, and he's like, I think he's more aware of it. Yeah, so I think it was a reference to him, in a sense. Maybe not directly, but at the yeah, he was talking about himself.
Poor Doctor. Poor Doctor. All right, so you got anything else on Hyde?
Yes, actually, I got plenty of things.
Let it run then.
All right, I have another quote for you that I thought stood out. There's a lot of stuff coming in on Twitter. I'll have to look here in a second.
You talk.
I will just say this, and this goes back to something else I was saying about Claire before. Shh. Clara shushes the Doctor. When's the last companion to shush the Doctor?
I don't know. Now that you say it like that, I'm not sure anyone has. She definitely there's just a totally different vibe with their connection. It's just because there's sexual tension that we never had before. Did
you think they were going to kiss last episode in Cold War?
I didn't.
There was one or two shots that some people brought up. I saw online that was like, I thought for a second they were going to kiss.
It's possible, but I don't think so. He's a married man. For now.
Yes, Tim brought up the bell, the TARDIS bell, references the old series. I think we've heard it. I don't know how many times we've heard it in the new series. I know we heard it in the 11th hour, and I don't know if we've heard it since or not. Okay, let's see here. A couple. We had another reference to the original series. I don't know if I'll say this right. The blue crystal from Metabellus 3.
Oh, I got you.
That was actually from. I looked it up. That was actually from an episode from the Third Doctor. That was like a callback, like a legit callback.
These are things I would never find because I don't know anything. Well, just period. I don't know anything, but I definitely don't know anything on classic stuff. Which apparently a lot of people, was it England and somewhere else that lost all their classic Netflix Doctor Who?
Something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Somebody got cut. Like, we still have them, but like Netflix cut it in, I want to say the UK and maybe Canada. So they don't have any classic Who on it.
And how do you like that whiskey was Claire's 11th most disgusting thing?
I forgot to make a note of that. The number 11 comes up a lot because.
I've got another note. You want to just go ahead and skip ahead? Are we done with?
You had said you had more Hyde stuff, so if you're.
Well, that's about it. I was going through my notes, and we've covered most of it.
Let me do this. Everybody, policeboxparadox.com. If you don't want to know any spoilerish type stuff, I'm sure we're going to get into several things that.
Wait, I do have one more thing for the episode.
Why, when I get started, do you do that?
Because that is my shtick.
All
that
right,
and this.
Go again. Go. Why are you not going? I forgot. That passed me up. Oh, here's trying to get us sued. So what
I have two lawyers in my family. We're not making money off this, so.
Do you think they just did that because they like one of those? I have an opportunity to make a Ghostbusters joke. Because
that, or they just want to say, "Hey, here's another connection to Rose," because Rose and the Doctor made a Ghostbuster. They sang the Ghostbusters theme there for a minute during that one episode when everybody thought the ghosts were coming. It was actually the Cybermen. I mean, they did a Ghostbusters shtick for a second.
Maybe
I spit on you on my screen.
You may have just stumbled on something right there. Rose made a Doctor Who or a Ghostbusters reference. That's okay. PoliceBoxParadox.com. We're from here on, we're going to talk about, I'm guessing, a fair amount of stuff from the 50th that has kind of came out.
50th finale. Yeah, we're going to talk about stuff.
I'm not necessarily thinking it's huge spoiler stuff. My guess is if you listen to this show, you're into this kind of stuff because it's not ruining it type of things. We're going to talk about pictures that hit the web and things of that nature. If you are going to turn off now, we appreciate you listening. Check us, policeboxparadox.com. You got links to all the Facebooks, Twitters, Google Pluses, all those things. But I guess we're going to get to those things. We
need to long live the momentum killer.
That's the greatest tweet ever.
Yes.
That's the greatest tweet ever. Can I favorite that? Can I make that happen?
Oh, I'm favoriting it. I'm retweeting it. I'm favoriting it on Geekasm. I'm doing it all. Probably because I already did.
I want to favorite it. Okay, so I'm not sure where. You go ahead and start with your Hyde thing that you wanted to bring up earlier that we waited till after because it was kind of.
Yeah, England lost them. Hang on, I'm going through Twitter real quick, see if there's anything.
Oh no, I'll tell you what's funny is because I've got our DMs, our mentions, and then I've got a hashtag for Dr. Who and Whovian. And the second you started playing Ghostbusters, someone we don't know or is listening to the show just did a really Doctor Who Ghostbusters, and I laughed. I was like, "You're not even listening. You don't know the momentum that Mike is killing right now. How would you be aware?"
Hang on, let's see if this'll. I'm pulling up YouTube videos too. I'm just doing it all now. I'm seeing if.
Okay, well, while you're seeing, because you have a tendency to.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Oh, Mike. So,
all right, where do you want to start?
You had a Hyde callback for the 50th. Go ahead and go to that.
Well, it all kind of goes around with Clara.
We lost a viewer. Sorry, I'm guessing they're ducking spoilers. That's fine. All
right, that's cool.
But the rest of y'all out there, we appreciate you hanging.
With the website today, like I said, I was watching Rose last night.
Right. Which I actually did read that. That popped up on something and I read it. I thought that was a very good catch. Very good.
I can't remember what my other post was that I did today. There was a reason I was watching Rose before, and I caught that after. What was I looking at before? I can't even remember what all I write about. Really information, journey, what the F, next three. Okay, I can't even remember what I had two videos, I know.
I just know every time I try to fill time while you look stuff up, you stop me. And then start searching again.
Sorry.
Do you have something you're finding, or are you just...
I'm trying to remember the other quote, the other reason I did this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That goes back. Actually, do you want to cover a piece of news real quick?
Go
the
ahead.
Spoilery news that's been other places.
Which one are we talking
It's for the next week's episode.
Oh, yeah. I've not seen this. Go ahead. I'm cool with it. Because it seems like this is something that got shot at everywhere. And there's no way we'll be able to avoid it.
There's a slight cameo for next week's episode that during the journey to the center of the TARDIS, you'll actually hear a small audio snippet from Christopher Eccleston.
Really?
Yes. He says it has to do something with Genghis Khan and them trying to get through the doors. It is just reused audio from Rose. It's actually the first quote the Doctor has when Rose steps into the TARDIS for the first time. That's why I was watching Rose, was to get that snippet.
We are going back to Rose a lot.
Yes.
Especially for an episode that's not that good. Y'all didn't hear me say that. I'm just saying.
I can't imagine most people arguing.
A little shaky.
Yeah, this is the... I did the really professional, I'm going to record the video playing on my laptop with my phone. I couldn't, the two clips that I looked for, I could not find on YouTube. At all. And I didn't feel like breaking it, pulling it off Netflix or anything.
You couldn't trim the audio a little bit?
Not on my phone.
You couldn't hit record closer to the actual clip?
Well, I thought I did. I did this at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
At this point, I feel...
The assembled hordes of Genghis Khan couldn't get through that door. Believe me, they've tried.
I feel like we could have watched the whole episode up to the point that they said that.
Well, I wanted to give you some reference point.
I was scared if I talked over it, we'd miss it. I'd have to listen to the whole thing again.
So, I was watching it for that.
How are they going to work that in?
Apparently, I don't know. Apparently, at some point, while Clara or while those scavengers are going through the TARDIS or something, you're gonna hear that.
I'm really excited about next week's episode.
So, so I was looking for that. While I was watching the episode, I caught this.
It was some sort of joke that just went wrong.
Sad ending.
It said on the news they found a body.
Rose died. Could have been worse.
He was saying he was nice.
Lucky a lady.
So, Rose mentions that they find a body in the mall, the store, whatever, that blows up at the beginning with the Doctor blows up. There's no direct reference that that's man, woman, male, female, and that is what is it? March 5th. The 5th or whatever the date is.
Mm-hmm.
That's that day. So I put a new post on the site pointing that out because that's the day Claire's mom died. The Auton attack. The Auton attack did not happen till the next day.
So the body would.
The actual attack where most people died happened the next day because they go through all, and that's the last time Rose was seen. So I put that in there. And part of the theory is, part of my question was, that date and that event for someone, say, like the Great Intelligence, could easily piece that together. Be like, look what the Doctor did. He killed your mother in an attempt to get Clara to possibly turn against him, and the empath gave the line that he had a sliver of ice in his heart, and nothing else was said about it. It was just enough for Clara to sit there and question the Doctor, but nothing else was referenced, nothing else was said. But now she has in the back of her mind, okay, what are you capable of?
Yeah, I think you're onto something with it. Because I think the date's too specific. I think you don't call that date out at random. Here's your own, and here's the other thing. I was going to say here's the only reason that could happen, but the original was Russell T Davies, and this is Moffat. It's very possible that you could have a writer who uses a date more than one time because it's a significant date to them in their lives.
Yeah.
But we're talking about totally different writers under totally different showrunners. So,
come on, we know of one person dying that day.
Right.
And we happen to see a tombstone with that date on it.
I think that's a good pull.
I mean, and Moffat's already shown that he likes to go back to previous episodes, and they'll just have a little thing. Everybody blows off, but it's like, hey, guess what? This connected, just like with the connection of Amy and Rory departing, connecting to the 11th hour.
Which brings me to a flaw in the end of time. And I'm going to talk about it because I don't even remember what I'm talking about. So I'm going to talk about it loosely and hope that someone else can remember what I'm talking about, if that makes sense. There is something that changes because I think I watched it on Doctor Who Confidential or something where it gets referenced, or it was just another interview, and David Tennant references it and says that he has been waiting for Moffat to go back and write a correction that explains why it happened. There's something to do with when he enters the TARDIS for the regeneration, he either has a coat with him that he didn't have before, or it's a different coat than the one he usually has. There's something wardrobe-wise with that coat that he throws over the little bridge thing when he walks in. And I've always waited for Moffat to correct that too, because that's the kind of thing that would annoy Moffat. I'm sure it was just some type of, just weird continuity glitch. But since it's there, it leaves
the possibility of them playing with it later.
Yeah, it leaves that something else happened in between his last visit and coming in to regenerate, which could be the gap that the 50th anniversary takes place in. Now, this last week we saw an image, and I posted it, it was a far-off shot of the 11th and the 10th Doctor standing side by side. And then Momentum Killer himself swoops in and says, "No, sir. That's just two cosplayers. All your joy is for nothing." To which I sat in tears sobbing because I had given every ounce of joy I had ever had to that moment of seeing them together. Do
you want to know what brought me about to post that?
I don't know. Because
I originally saw that. I originally saw that picture while I was at work. So I'm sitting here driving, contemplating. Wait a second. That's Matt Smith in his previous costume. That's not in his current suit. So I'm manipulating in my head, putting together time paradox stories. Are we going to see the 11th Doctor at different iterations? What is going on? So when I get to the house, I start looking at stuff up, and I realize that. So no, I was getting ready to write an article down, and I
just walked in the room, peed my Cheerios. Like, nope.
But see, they've posted official pictures now.
Now we have finally seen a picture of David Tennant dressed as the 10th Doctor, standing next to Matt Smith dressed as the 11th Doctor,
and the greatest part of it,
looked down and said,
No, the Angels did that because of the Zygon butt in the background.
I don't know nothing about the Zygons. I don't know if I'm supposed to be excited. I could care less. They could actually have a trash can holding the plunger, and I wouldn't care.
Okay.
Because those two are standing side by side.
Now, since you brought that up,
for filming.
Yeah. Now that you've brought that up, I got a question for you. Mm-hmm. Now, before that, we had seen pictures of Matt Smith. We've seen pictures of Clara, Jenna Lewis, blah, 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 blah. We'd seen pictures of Tennant.
Yes.
We've not seen Jack Squad or Rose.
You're right.
At all.
Oh, here's what I'm going to say.
Not even during the read-through.
Here's my theory. Well, I think maybe not everybody was involved in the read-through.
There's something funky going on with Rose.
I think that, I don't think that Rose's part is going to be huge. Like, I don't think we're going to have, let's say they do an hour-and-a-half episode, so that's what? About 64 minutes of actual footage. Let's say in that 64 minutes, I bet we get 10 minutes of Rose. I think we get about 30 to 40 minutes of Tennant, and I think Matt Smith's in the whole thing. I think it leads in and then goes around. If I had to guess, although I think it'd be awesome if it was just those two walking on the street telling old stories together. So I don't think we've even got to when Rose is being filmed yet. I think that right now we're just filming certain things, and we may not be able to see what Rose is doing because they're filming a lot inside that building that's supposed to double as where are they?
Yeah.
It's doubling as where the crown jewels are held, I think.
Yeah, because we've seen
Unit is supposed to be under.
Unit's part of it. We've seen Queen Elizabeth. We've seen both TARDISes. So
both TARDI. No, we've confirmed it's TARDISes.
TARDISes. Yeah. You brought up the number 11 earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take a wild... I've given it away, but do you want to take a guess as to what episode or what appearance the 50th anniversary will be for Clara?
The 11th?
Yeah.
How many references to 11 have they made so far? 11? I was really hoping so.
I don't know yet. I need to go back and look.
4. It was just 4.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be... If you count Asylum of the Daleks moving forward, the 50th anniversary will be the 11th time we've seen her.
Well, I think there's going to be some stuff happening in the 50th.
Now, they're just all going to sit around and have tea.
We've seen Matt Smith hanging from the bottom of the TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen... Now, you say we've seen both TARDISes.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen them both? Because I don't know if I've seen David.
The one the picture of Smith and Tennant together, that's in front of the 10ths.
Ah.
You can tell because it doesn't have the little circle ambulance.
Right.
Yeah.
I see. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Good point, sir. So
I've read some very outlandish theories or potential spoilers for the 50th anniversary that is just out there. Do you want to know one that I don't think is legit at all?
Yes, of course. I would like to know information that's not real.
No one's going to kill me if this ends up being what happens?
No. Well, no. Maybe.
I don't. I'm saying this saying I don't think that this is what'll happen.
He's reading directly from the script, everybody.
All right, the actor John Hurt or whatever that they... I know his last name's Hurt. I don't know if it's John or not. But they announced him the same time they announced Tennant and Piper.
Mm-hmm.
And I always made a point, I can't remember if I wrote it, said it here, or just thought it in my head, but I was like, they threw him in there at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to just skid him by, because they didn't say who he was. One of the outlandish theories that I've read is that he is actually going to turn up being the 9th Doctor, which knocks off the numbering to make Smith the 12th. That he is an iteration that the Doctor has forgotten, and that he is actually the 9th Doctor.
So that would make
Eccleston 10.
I will break everything if you try to tell me that David Tennant is not the 10th Doctor.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way.
Tattoos that say I love the 10th Doctor. And they'll be like, I don't love Christopher Eccleston. Even though I do. I personally love some Eccleston, but man.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
John, I'm going to look up John Hurt now because it's that guy. I like that guy. He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Which I've not seen Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy yet, and I really want to. Is he British? He is British, right? Yeah.
Most people seem to be.
Yeah. I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Because if you're not allowed to be the Doctor of any iteration. I will flip out on that.
You want to cover 50th anymore, or do you want to go to the finale?
Let's go to the finale, okay? Because I don't know of a lot more. We've not learned a whole lot more.
No, because they just announced. I will flat out say I think the title is the biggest red herring on the planet.
For the finale?
Finale, yes.
Well, originally, and I swear I thought it was an official release that it was going to be called The Death of River Song. I'm pretty sure.
But we've already seen her death, though, is the thing. The only way that would work is if, when she leaves, she says, "See you, honey. I'm getting ready to take a group of people to the library."
Oh, I absolutely think that happens. I think the last time we see River, I think she flat out says, like, she gets ready to do that expedition.
Yeah.
Or
maybe she'll even show up in that suit.
the maybe not even go that far, but doesn't. Well, he's already taken her to the one thing, hasn't he? He's already like
they've covered most of it.
Like where she said in Silence Library, where he takes her to that one place and they dance or whatever. They've already done all that.
Yeah. Now I will say, because I would have, if you would have asked me a week ago, I would have told you that the season finale is going to have nothing to do with any of the Silence Falls or anything else like that. But they just, when they released the episode poster and the title for the season finale, or for you over on the other side of the pond, the series finale.
I like series. I think it fits.
But it actually, the Doctor Who magazine, they released the cover, the fancy one that they get over there, that we have to pay like $12 for here.
You ain't kidding. I was going to get my son a subscription to the magazine. I was like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
I'd rather send somebody money over there and say, just buy this and ship it to me, please.
Ship it to me,
because it would be cheaper. It was $100 and something.
Yeah, that's something ridiculous. Yeah.
It was absurd.
But it actually says on the cover, it says that they go to Trenzalore.
In this episode?
In the finale, yeah.
Oh, I don't like that. That worries me.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to get the regeneration in the 50th?
No, I think that'd be corny. I think that would be
50th.
Corny. I do too. I think you need Matt Smith to go through it. Now, he might regenerate at the Christmas special,
which I could live with.
But
I could live with that. But it'd have to be an epic, it would have to be the most epic Christmas special you've ever seen, because to have a regeneration, it can't just be fluky. Like, it's got to be real deal, Holyfield type situation. And just like, unless it was like Christmas Carol, you could see something of that depth do it. But other than that, I don't know if there's a Christmas special where I would have been like, you go ahead and you can just regenerate off of this one. It's got to be a good story. Because and look, I love Matt Smith, but I don't have the emotional attachment to him that I did Tenet. Tenet was special.
Yeah.
And they had to send him off right, and they did. I thought it was beautiful and epic. But
all right, Tim just asked, hasn't Matt already signed on for the next season? I think he has.
They say that.
But he's also he's wanting to do stuff in Hollywood, too. So, I mean, they said that they're going to bounce around the schedule to, try to match with him.
Because he's already in one movie that's coming out shortly.
Yeah.
He's not the star, but he's in it.
No, so.
And I think the reason, and I had this discussion with my wife the other day, because she didn't know about, his father-in-law was the fourth Doctor or the fifth Doctor, whichever one. She didn't know a lot of these things, and that he was a fan his entire life. There's a difference to me in David Tennant and his passion for the show and what everyone else does. Because I think David Tennant truly loves Doctor Who. I think Matt Smith enjoys Doctor Who, and he thinks it's a great job that will get him another role and another role and another role. And I actually felt that way about Amy and Rory and all those people. I think that they enjoyed the ride while they were on it, but because all of them, even Jenna Louise Coleman has said she'd never seen an episode of Doctor Who until she watched a couple after she got the part, but then Moffat told her not to watch any episodes. He wants her to be fresh and do it her way, which I agree with. If she's not seen him before, she doesn't need to watch it now. She needs to do her thing, and then when it's over, watch it. But if Matt Smith has not watched all of Eccleston and Tennant, I don't think he ever will. If he's not watched them already, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Whereas I think maybe it was painful, but I still think that David Tennant has still watched every episode of Doctor Who since he left. I feel he has. Because he just loves it too much. And I think that's why there's a different connection to him than there are other people. And that's why I wish Christopher Eccleston would quit being a pompous jackass and come be on the episode.
Yeah. Here is the picture. See, I guess I have to talk for you to actually be able to see it, don't I?
Actually, I think I can click you, and it keeps you up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can see that that's Tennant's TARDIS. Mm-hmm. It looks all rough. And there's the Zygon butt.
What do we know about the Zygons?
I know nothing.
I know absolutely nothing.
And I'm sure there are people either watching us or listening to us that are screaming, like, probably cussing our names right now. But
they're like, do you not remember the episode? Like, I'll keep waiting for someone to go, the Zygons were in Blink, like half the episode. Why don't you remember that? And I'm like, no, they weren't. You can't lie to me.
So, let me turn that off. There we go. Wait! I scared myself.
Scary. You just hurt somebody.
Zygons from the second Doctor. So they're going back a ways.
Who be intense as fifth Doctor? And he thinks they were only in one episode. Which makes it weird why they would be back in this. It seems like whoever's in this has to be a big deal. And didn't they confirm that the Master will not be back in this episode?
I think so.
That's garbage. I think we're ready for
Makes me think that they're going to save him for the 8th season.
Series.
Yeah.
I could see him being the cause for a regeneration. I'd be cool with that. I'd be cool with that. All right. You got anything else?
Fifth Doctor is Tennant's father-in-law.
Oh, it's the Fifth Doctor. Sorry.
That's a paradox in and of itself.
And if you've not seen their, is it Red Nose Day? Is that what they call it?
I think so. Yeah.
Where they do the
one where the two of them. Yeah.
Yeah. They always have the little 8-minute clips or whatever. They do one where the Fifth Doctor rematerializes on the TARDIS with Tennant, and they go back and forth, and it is hilarious. It's a really good short that if you've not seen, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. All right, well, if you got nothing else, then I'm ready to shut her down for this double episode.
Yeah, I don't really have any. Well, hang on, Twitter just popped up again. Yes, Red Nose Day, Time Crash. Actually, I will say, if anybody else wants to ask us anything before we close up shop. Okay, time's up.
Yep. we can answer the next time. What we need to do is we need to come up with a hashtag for, like, if people throughout the week where we can log questions. Although we usually answer stuff like right then and there, but maybe we can.
Yeah, no, we typically don't hold off. So,
and
actually,
I don't know.
I will ask you
do
something
it next time. Go ahead and ask them. You ask.
Do you think that no? I'm asking you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, first off, why am I still? I don't want to keep looking at myself. Do you think that? Do you think that they will actually reveal the Doctor's name?
No, I don't. I think they're going to try to do something. It worries me because the way they've talked about it, Matt Smith has flat out said that the most shocking thing that's ever happened on Doctor Who is happening in the finale.
Yeah.
And that scares me because you're setting up for failure by going that big. And because, one, telling me the Doctor's name is not going to be it unless you tell me it's the Master, and then I'll be like, that's just dumb. I don't want to know it. I think that they're going to give us something different. I think we're going to think it's the Doctor's name, but then it's not the Doctor's name. That's just what I think. We have been building up the most unanswered question in the universe is Doctor Who, and we say Doctor Who 1,000,000 times an episode now to try to drill that in. I don't think we're going to find it. I just don't. I think, and I don't want to. If they do it, I'm cool. But like, what's it going to be, Travis? I mean, what?
It's going to be the momentum killer.
Yeah, it's got to be so epic, and if it's in Gallifreyan, how am I going to understand it? You know, I'm cool with it.
I think it would. I don't think it's needed.
And I think it's beautiful that River knows it, because I believe that's what she whispered in his ear. I believe she knew his real name and she whispered that in his ear, and I think that's beautiful.
The way that Tennant plays it off, I don't know what else it could be to garner that reaction that he.
And I'm telling you,
because it shows that video that I played for the red setting, and if y'all want to see the video, you can go to the policeboxparadox.com, and it's down through there in the post. I mean, he plays that perfectly. Like, he doesn't know if he should be shocked, scared. He's just, it is flat out speechless.
Yeah, we watched it. I didn't watch it. I watched it this year. There was an episode last season that I watched it. It may have been Angels of Manhattan. I went back and watched it, and I remember watching just every time I watched the Silence in the Library, that two-parter, it blows my mind because River comes into the room like everyone, like she knew everything that had happened. Like she was up to date with everything that had happened to that point in the world, and it was fast. Like she walks in the room, and I didn't expect it when I watched it because I always forget it. The first thing she says is "Hello, sweetie," and I'm just like, "Really? You knew this far in advance that was needed to be there every time?" It's a different. It shows the genius of Moffat's writing and how because I don't think he has those plans. I don't think he knows his end game when he introduces some of these things. I think he introduces things and knows how to tie it back perfectly. And I think they did that in Battlestar Galactica a lot. Like they didn't know who the final five were when they started talking about the final five. They just figured out as they went along and told stories they liked how they could make it work. And that's why it was good. I think that's what Moffat does. I think that's what's good. Again, we're still sticking with these one-off movie-like episodes. I wish we could get back to a little more longer run.
Yeah, I'd like to get a little bit more,
I'm a two-parter kind of guy. I love some of, like, in my favorite episodes, which I count them as one because I feel like they're a longer arc. But the Silence in the Library is Blink's my favorite episode, but Silence in the Library two-parter is my second favorite. And then I think, I don't know. There's a few after that, but like if you look at The Astronaut, that's a two-parter. You look at The Blood Family, that's a two-parter. A lot of the great episodes, I think, are two-parters.
Yeah, because they have more time to tell the whole story and fill it out.
But they're like movies because you have, all that time. So I would love to get back to, not necessarily two-parters, but I'd like to get back to that kind of feel where we got an episode, a two-parter, an episode, and I don't know. I just think that would be cool. DC
Sensei said that if it turns out his name's John Smith, there will be people out for blood.
There will be people out for blood if that happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to another episode of Police Box Paradox. I'm Wes. That's Mike. You can check us out at Police Box Paradox. PoliceBoxParadox.com. We're at PoliceBXParadox on the Twitters. You can get us on Facebook, Google Plus. We're on everything. You can check us out, and if you go to the website, you will get to it. You can also check out HaveAGeekasm.com for all of your Duran needs. Actually, you know what? I don't disappoint you because if you're running around with Duran needs, I don't want you to go without them. Don't go to Have a Geekasm for that because it won't be there.
You know what? The way everything's, as I'd say, the way everything's set up now, you don't. If they go to PoliceBoxParadox.com, if they want to explore the rest of the site, they can. So.
Oh yeah, you can get to everything. It's all there. It's all kinds of geek news. He's got stuff on like look. If you're wanting to find out what's going on in the Marvel universe with the movies and things, that's where you go. Period. You're going to learn everything you need to know. So, you can email us, TARDIS@PoliceBoxParadox.com. We got that set up. So now the email isn't the other. It's TARDIS@PoliceBoxParadox.com. It goes to Mike and me. We check it all the time. Please send us questions, information, shout-outs. Here's one thing I'm begging you, because some people have done it. I want you all to go on iTunes, rate us, review us. Please. Tell a friend. If you know somebody that likes Doctor Who, let them know about this podcast. But for real,
it helps us.
If you could get those, it doesn't cost you anything to go click 5 stars or 4 stars. Don't go below 4. If you don't like us, that's fine. Don't listen or rate it. But we would really appreciate some 5-star reviews. That helps us, and we can try to bring in some advertising and pay for some of this stuff that we're buying. So until
going broke on.
Yeah, we're getting hit hard in the economy here. That's all I'm saying. So. Until next time,
I wish Hungry Like the Wolf was right there.
I do. I wish I could have hit the post there. Until next time, let me